Hi guys, welcome back to Eduate channel. So today we will be discussing about veterinary surgery radiology topic, that is unit 1 general veterinary surgery, and the topic is hemorrhage and hemostasis. So we are all familiar with the word hemorrhage since veterinary pathology, and we are familiar with these two words since our second year in veterinary education. So we need to actually understand the basics of hemorrhage and the control of hemorrhage. So we will be studying it in the surgery section, and we will be dealing with the hemorrhage and hemostasis in this video. So if you haven't subscribed this channel yet, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell button for more updates. So our contents will be mainly hemorrhage and its classification, the etiological agents behind hemorrhage, symptoms of hemorrhage, hemostasis, etc. So what is hemorrhage? Hemorrhage means escape of blood from an artery, vein or capillary to extravascular space. So simple definition. So the complete loss of blood is referred to as exsanguination. Sanguine is a word which is related to blood. So this is actually a picture of a small hemorrhage in the thumb. So next is actually the classification. The first one is external hemorrhage. That is actually occurring from an open wound or cut wound that is visible outside of the body. So example are epistaxis, that is actually bleeding from the nose. Hematuria, that is actually presence of blood or blood particles in the urine. Hematemesis, that is actually vomiting fresh blood. Hemoptysis is actually coughing up blood from the lungs. Melena is actually the presence of blood in the feces. Now moving to the internal hemorrhage, that is actually bleeding occurring inside the body. It may be caused due to high blood pressure, that is actually due to rupture of the blood vessel, or other forms of injury. When blood is collected in a newly formed called cavity, it is known as hematoma. So hemometra, that is actually hemorrhage into uterus. Hemopleura, that is actually hemorrhage into the pleural cavity. Hemoperitoneum, hemorrhage into peritoneal cavity. Hematocele, that is actually hemorrhage into the tunica vaginalis. Next is hemarthrosis, that is hemorrhage into a joint. Next is hematomylia, that is hemorrhage into spinal cord. Next is petechia, that is pinpoint hemorrhages on skin and subcutis. Next is ecchymosis, that is actually hemorrhage, spots on skin and subcutis. So next is depending on the time of occurrence of hemorrhage. Primary hemorrhage occurs immediately after injury. The reactionary hemorrhage occurs within 24 hours after the primary bleeding has been arrested due to the mechanical disturbance of clot in vessel or due to slipping of the ligature. Secondary hemorrhage occurs after about a week or more due to the septic disintegration of the clot or due to sloughing of the portion of vessel because of septic or gangrenous lesions. So whenever the wound has gone into sepsis condition or the gangrenous presence, secondary hemorrhage will be very common. So next, depending on the source of hemorrhage, that is arterial hemorrhage, venous hemorrhage, capillary hemorrhage. So whenever the hemorrhage is from arterial or venous or capillary, we can actually differentiate it from the three characteristics, that is color, flow, and of the force. So whenever it is arterial, it's bright red and it's actually spurting or pulsating flow will be there, and a force will be actually from the cardiac side. So moving to the venous, it will be dark red, continuously free flowing, and peripheral side, that is actually from the distal or the venous side. So next is capillary, it will be red and slow as steady oozing, and of force will be from the wound. So moving to the etiology or the causative agents, it can be from trauma, that is blunt trauma, penetrating trauma, etc. Necrosis and ulcerations of blood vessel that may lead to sloughing of the endothelial cells, and that can lead to opening of the endothelium and that may lead to hemorrhage. Infection or subsequent release of toxins of microorganism. So these toxins will be attacking the cells and they will be killing the basal cells of endothelium, and they will be producing the gaps in the endothelium, and the blood can ooze out through those gaps. So next is actually aneurysm or increased blood pressure, lack of oxygen and nutrition, anaphylactic shock, deficiency of coagulation factors. So next is deficiency diseases, hemophilia, thrombocytopenia, deficiency of vitamin C, vitamin K. Next is plant toxins, that is wheat flour poisoning. So symptoms will be actually bleeding from the injured blood vessel, skin and mucous membrane become pale, cold and moist, patient feels thirsty, air hunger, thready pulse, hypotension, low hemoglobin and red blood cells, severe bleeding that will lead to the shock. So needs of hemostasis is actually to prevent loss of blood, prevent anemia, prevent anaphylaxis or hypovolemic shock. To improve visibility at the site, for easy handling of tissues. Next is the methods of hemostasis. This is very important. So we will be dealing with physical methods and mainly chemical methods. So under physical methods, we have pressure method, heat, electricity, ligature methods, tamponade, torsion, cruising, etc. In case of chemical methods, we will be having topical agents as well as systemic agents. So moving to the physical methods of hemostasis or control of hemorrhages, we will be having application of pressure, that is finger pressure, force pressure, that is using forceps, we will be ligating. Next is tourniquets, which is very familiar. Next is S-march bandage and pressure bandages. So next is actually application of heat, that is due to thermocautery and electrocautery. Application of electricity, that is electrocoagulation. Next is ligature, tamponade, torsion and cruising. So we are very familiar with these things. That is actually a cruisier or emasculator. Next is actually the chemical methods. So chemical methods, we will be having topical styptics, that is they will be controlling the hemorrhage, tincture benzoin, liquid ferriperchloride, ice packs or adrenaline in 1:1000, that is actually a vasoconstrictor. So it will be constricting the vessel and the hemorrhage will be controlled. Next is systemic agents, that is ethamsilate, butyl alcohol, botropase, vitamin K and many dyes that is very common, that is adenochromes, etc. So thank you.